It was a quiet morning in Troll Valley. Mose, as always, got up with a big stretch, fixed his hair, brushed Sami gently, and looked through his magnifying friend loopies. Everything seemed normal. Almost too normal. Sami, Mose's little moss friend, was more than just a companion. She was the color of Mose's feelings, glowing green when calm, sparkling blue when brave, shining pink when full of love. But this morning? Nothing. No shimmer, no glow, just pale gray moss. Mose frowned for a moment, then shook his head. Maybe she's just sleepy, he whispered, and hurried outside. But deep inside, a tiny knot of worry began to grow. The forest too felt uneasy. The birds chirped too sharply. The wind rustled the leaves too wildly. Shadows seemed to stretch longer. But no one said anything. The next morning, while Mose was flipping through his favorite book on glowing mushrooms, Sami tried to turn violet, her curious color. But nothing happened. Paku the backpack frowned. Something's not right. Maybe Sami caught a cold? Luppies adjusted his lens dramatically. Highly contagious colorlessness, he declared. Mose leaned closer, placing a hand on Sami's soft moss. Don't worry, little one, we'll help you, he whispered. His chest felt tight, as if a tiny spark inside him had gone dim too. They wrapped Sami in moss blankets, gave her warm sap tea, and checked her temperature with a beetle thermometer. Still no color. So they rushed her to the village healer, a wise old troll named Tamna. Her hair was long and tangled with forest leaves, and her eyes sparkled like dew in the moonlight. Tamna examined Sami carefully. She poked Sami's moss, listened to her stillness, and even played a gentle tune on a pine flute. For a moment, everyone held their breath, hoping the colors would return. But nothing stirred. Sami stayed gray, her little glow weaker than ever. Finally, Tamna shook her head. She's not sick, Tamna said softly. She's not stuck, she's empty. The next few days got stranger. On the fourth day, Sami no longer responded to sadness. When Mose tripped and scraped his knee, she didn't turn gray. She only flickered, like a candle about to go out. Mose bit his lip, holding back tears. On the fifth day, Sami didn't turn yellow for surprise when a squirrel fell from a tree, wearing a tutu made of leaves. Normally she would have glowed bright, bouncing with giggles. This time she stayed pale, her light fading to nothing. On the sixth, even love was gone. Mose hugged her tightly, whispering, "I love you, Sami." But no pink glow shone back. Sami lay still and cold in his arms. Mose's voice cracked. "She's fading." The friends decided to visit the wise troll seer. He lived deep in the valley where wildflowers bent as if whispering secrets, and moss glowed brighter than the moon. The seer himself was covered in moss, his cloak shining with glowing runes that shifted like living symbols. When Mose explained everything, the seer's face darkened. His staff trembled in his hand. Slowly he grew pale, as if the color drained from him too. "It has begun," he whispered, voice low as wind in a cave. "The forbidden forest, once sealed by a wall of magic, but now, a crack, a hole, and through it the color catchers have escaped." "Color catchers?" Mose asked, his voice barely above a whisper. The seer's eyes glowed faintly. Dark bird trolls who feed on feelings. They swoop through dreams, pluck colors from the heart, and grow stronger with every spark they steal. If they consume too many emotions, those feelings are lost. Forever. Paku shivered, his straps curling tight. "Can we get them back?" The seer nodded slowly. "Yes, but only if you act quickly. When the moon is full, the color catchers will seal what they have stolen, and no light will break it." Mose straightened his shoulders, holding Sami close. "Then we don't have a choice. We have to go." So the friends packed their things and began the journey to the forbidden forest. With so many emotions missing, the trip was harder than they imagined. In the first forest zone, the calm wood, everything was loud and chaotic. Without calm, animals ran in frantic circles. Deer leapt and crashed into bushes. Squirrels chased their own tails, and owls flapped in dizzy spirals, hooting nonsense. The winds howled through the branches, tossing leaves like a wild storm. Even the ancient trees twitched and groaned, unable to stand still. The whole forest seemed to have forgotten how to breathe. Mose covered Sami with his hands. "Stay close," he told his friends, though his own heart was pounding fast and restless. Then they entered the hollow of curiosity. Bright, glowing questions floated in the air. Red question marks spun like tops, green ones wriggled like worms, and blue ones drifted like balloons. Normally Paku would have bounced with excitement, tugging at the others to chase each one. But now, he just slumped, his straps drooped. He stared at the ground and mumbled, "Why are we even walking?" Then he forgot the question halfway through. The others shuffled forward silently. No one looked up, no one cared to ask the questions that sparkled above their heads. Next came the laughing hills, but they didn't laugh. Once the hills had echoed with silly giggles and rolling laughter. Now the air was flat and heavy. When Mose clapped his hands, the sound vanished into silence. Even echoes had forgotten how to return. Then came the valley of worry. But no one worried. No one trembled at shadows or feared getting lost. It was too quiet. Too safe. Lupus frowned, adjusting his lens. It feels safe, but too safe. Like the danger is hiding, everyone's steps slowed. The calm felt wrong, like a smile that wasn't real. By the time they reached the forest of forgotten sadness, everything was gray. Not sad, just dull. The trees drooped as if too tired to care. Leaves fell without color, turning to dust before touching the ground. A fox sat in the path and cried for no reason. Nearby, a crow cawed angrily, but even he didn't know why. Emotions slipped and tangled until nothing made sense. One cried, another yelled, and no one knew why. Mose hugged Sami tighter. Her glow was almost gone. "If we don't hurry," he whispered, "there will be nothing left." Mose stared at Sami, now barely glowing, and remembered what the seer had said, "Emotions make us alive." They reached the clearing. 3 strange beings fluttered and hopped around a glowing campfire. They were half troll, half bird, their wings ragged, their eyes sharp. One was red and round, sparks flying with every step. One violet and twitchy, bouncing from branch to branch. One gray and quiet, its feathers dull as ash. The color catchers. They juggled the emotions like toys, glimmering orbs floating above their claws. Gold joy spun in circles. Blue calm wobbled dangerously close to the fire. Purple curiosity darted and zipped away, only to be snatched back. Pink love bobbed helplessly, trapped between their talons. Mose's fists clenched. "They're stealing them, all of them. They don't care about feelings," Lopus whispered, his lens trembling. "They just use them. They're going to eat them," Paku gasped, his straps twisting in panic. "We have to do something." Mose narrowed his eyes, studying the strange creatures as they tossed joy and love like playthings. "Each one feeds on something different," he murmured. "If we give them more than they can handle, maybe we can confuse them." The friends huddled close, whispering fast. Then Mose straightened, determination burning in his eyes. He gathered glowing moss, shaping it into a winding trail that led deeper into the swamp. Carefully, he touched the end with Sami's last spark of light. The moss flared, glowing with a dozen colors. The color catchers screeched in delight, their wings flapping wildly. More emotions, more. They shrieked, lunging after the trail without a thought. But the moss led straight into the sinking marsh. The moment the color catchers rushed forward squelch, their claws slipped and they sank into the goo. They screeched and flapped their wings wildly, but the more they fought, the deeper they sank. "Now," whispered Lupus. He and Paku crept into the camp, hearts pounding. The air shimmered with stolen emotions, each glowing like a living flame pulsing in the dark. Gold joy flickered like a candle. Purple curiosity buzzed like a firefly. Blue calm floated softly, and pink love trembled as if calling for help. Quickly they stuffed the emotions into jars made of starlight. The glass sparkled, barely holding the light inside. The moment the last orb was captured, the forest seemed to sigh with relief. They sprinted back to the clearing, jars clutched tight. Mose met them, panting, his eyes wide with hope. "We did it!" he cheered, lifting Sami high. "We really did it!" And together they raced back to the seer. As the moon reached its peak, the seer lifted his hands high. His mossy cloak shimmered, the runes across his chest glowing brighter than starlight. He began to chant, words older than the forest itself. The ground trembled softly. The trees leaned inward as if listening. A silver wall of light rose around the forbidden forest, rippling like water, sealing the crack where the color catchers had escaped. The night air filled with a low hum, the song of the forest mending itself. Fireflies sparked, flowers glowed faintly in the moonlight. The whole valley seemed to breathe again. And then, Sami blinked, a spark of blue, a flicker of violet, a warm golden hue, then green, then orange, then pink. One by one the colors poured back into the valley. The trees blushed with blossoms. The rivers shimmered like melted rainbows. Fireflies burst into dance, spinning golden trails through the air. All the emotions came rushing back. Paku laughed so hard his straps bounced. Lopis cried tears of relief, his lens fogging up. Mose beamed, hugging Sami close. And Sami glowed brighter than ever, her light painting the whole forest in shining hues. The world felt whole again. Birds sang, winds whispered, and laughter echoed across the hills. And this time, they would never take emotions for granted again. The seer's eyes glimmered. Every laugh, every tear, every spark of wonder makes the world alive. Never forget, together your colors shine the brightest.